Bill Goldberg turning heel for the first time in his career to join Russo and Bischoff in the New Blood was the major surprise coming out of the Great American Bash pay-per-view, building up to one of the most hyped Nitros of the year on June 12 in hopes that the Goldberg turn would result in similar game-changing momentum to the Hogan NWO and Rock Corporation turns in the past 4 years, seeing the broadcast with Goldberg heavily featured throughout building to his first match as a heel with a Goldberg vs. Nash main event, starting already past 10 p.m. in a longer than usual 12-minute overrun, going 5 minutes with Goldberg taking out Nash to peak the night with a 3.2 rating with Nitro overall jumping back into the 3 rating range. With creative clashes between Goldberg and Russo going on for the past month, things escalated to new heights on July 24 with a reported heated backstage confrontation between them taking place hours before Nitro went on the air, going over the planned script for the night that would see Goldberg doing a rare job by the end of the broadcast built around a show-long Goldberg vs. Booker confrontation. First with a promo segment setting it up followed by them facing off in the top 2 time slots of the night, starting the first match at 9 p.m. in an impromptu brawl after a company website poll saw Sting and Goldberg going neck and neck in the voting for a title shot, building up to the now advertised first ever Goldberg vs. Booker match an hour later with Goldberg after dominating throughout setting up the surprise finish with Booker pinning Goldberg in a rare career pinfall loss in the match jumping over 700,000 viewers to peak at a 3.1 rating with over 3.8 million viewers. On perhaps the most hyped battle in the Monday Night Wars in over a year with Raw switching channels for the first time in its history and Nitro looking to potentially capitalize on lost USA Network viewers, Nitro with plans to go all out on the night saw Vince Russo in the lead up to Monday heavily hyping the show with him besides the already advertised Booker vs. Russo WCW title match, promising another surprise with a potentially even bigger main event match to take place at some point during the second 9 to 10 p.m. hour head-to-head with Raw's TNN debut, seeing the talked-about match being revealed minutes after 9 p.m. with Goldberg attacking Scott Steiner backstage to set up a Goldberg vs. Steiner cage match on television with a few minutes' notice. Seeing Nitro's first opposed quarter featuring a Whack Pack bikini contest followed by the Steiner-Goldberg segment opening strong with 4 million viewers going head-to-head with Steve Austin's first promo on Raw in 10 months going on at the same time on TNN, resulting in a 3.1 to 4.8 rating gap during the first quarter with only 1.7 rating points separating the shows in the closest margin for any segment in over 3 months. With Vince Russo's status with the company in question again after going home following the Thunder taping last Thursday, Nitro with a makeshift creative regime looked to maximize numbers on the night by going with a similar strategy to last September by loading up the first hour to draw a big unopposed number before Raw goes on the air, putting on a rare Goldberg match already at the 8:45 p.m. quarter with Goldberg 8 days after the heel turn coming out to perhaps the biggest babyface reaction of the night, going 3 minutes against Horace Hogan to a show-high 3.2 rating. "7 days after winning the WCW title followed by him addressing the status of the belt on Thunder 2 days later, Russo opened Nitro with a statement to give away the title and write himself off television after taking another blow to the head from Goldberg's spear on the barricade to add to his concussion issues, addressing the events of the past week saying that he proved he can win the WCW title and is now relinquishing it with a match between Steiner and Jarrett for the belt set for the main event, turning to Goldberg to bring him out to the ring with Russo driving out in a protected glass saying that Goldberg's fate is in his hands with him starting tonight must repeat his 176-win undefeated streak or he's fired the first time he loses a match, with the Russo-Goldberg confrontation in Russo's final segment on Nitro followed by him putting Mike Sanders in charge to replace him as the on-screen authority figure, drawing the peak viewership of the night with a 3.3 rating and over 4.1 million viewers. 2 weeks after the turn, with the company looking to further cement Goldberg as a heel. June 26 saw one of the biggest heat angles of the year, with a Goldberg vs. Jim Duggan match playing off Duggan's legit health issues over the past 2 years, seeing the match after almost an hour of hype building up Duggan as a sympathetic figure to put the major heat on Goldberg coming out of it, kicking off near 9 p.m. with Duggan as the massive underdog taking the first shot before the Goldberg comeback to take him out, further emphasizing the angle with Goldberg attacking Duggan's kidney and the announcers selling it big, explaining Duggan's medical condition, leading to the crowd, at least for this week, fully turning on Goldberg to cement him as a heel for the first time, with the Goldberg-Duggan match drawing both the peak unopposed and head-to-head quarters of the night. Coming 4 days after the press conference officially announcing the sale of WCW from Time Warner to the Eric Bischoff-headed Fusion Media, the first Nitro since the announcement saw the start of the preparation to the new regime, with a plan to write off the majority of top players to return together under the new ownership, starting last night with the biggest one in Bill Goldberg after losing a retirement match to Luger and Bagwell at the Sin pay-per-view in what would be his final appearance under the WCW brand, opening the broadcast with an over 30-minute segment and a funeral to his career headed by Ric Flair a day after turning heel to join forces with Steiner, Luger, Bagwell, Jarrett and the returning Animal to form a new top heel group, seeing the segment coming off the sale announcement days earlier and the intrigue over the major angles coming out of the Scene pay-per-view drawing one of Nitro's most watched hours of the past year with over 4 million viewers, peaking with a 3.4 rating and over 4.3 million viewers for the second half of the Big Star Power opening segment in Nitro's most watched quarter since September 2000. With Raw preempted to 11 p.m. for 2 weeks and Nitro instead of going against one of the biggest draw audiences of the year a day after the SummerSlam pay-per-view, having a massive opportunity to let viewers sample its product, with Russo saying on the company website that loaded shows are planned for the next 2 weeks, with Nitro after shooting the angle the previous Monday seeing the reuniting of Russo's 2000 regime and NWO arriving to the building to set up 2 major segments for later tonight. First with Nash vs. Booker for the WCW title, opening the second hour with the match in the usual toughest time slot of the night on a regular week, instead gaining strong with over 1 million viewers to a 4.1 rating, followed by the payoff of the show-long angle with Goldberg chasing Russo to drive him to a desert for the closing angle, ending up with Bret Hart making a surprise appearance in the final minute of the broadcast to turn on Goldberg, with the Russo-Bret Goldberg Desert segment closing the show with a show-high 4.8 million viewer. With TNT preempting Nitro to air a movie in its regular 8 to 10 p.m. time slot on Monday, WCW, hoping to capitalize on the rare unopposed night, set up a show-long angle with Scott Steiner on a rampage all over the building, turning up the volume since last Sunday to play off his legit loose cannon reputation, headlined by perhaps the company's current biggest money match, with plans for it to potentially headline the Starrcade pay-per-view with Steiner vs. Goldberg set for the main event, building up the hype throughout the night, with Steiner waiting for Goldberg's arrival to see him entering the building minutes after 9 p.m. to start a backstage brawl, with Goldberg and Steiner after over 90 minutes of hype coming out 3 minutes to the top of the hour with the Goldberg vs. Steiner dynamic after doing strong numbers on television over a year earlier, with the program targeted as a pay-per-view headliner since early '99. Delivering strong again, with the match showing a massive interest boost to peak significantly above the show's average, jumping over 1.3 million viewers to a peak 3.7 rating, with over 4.8 million viewers in the highest rated match on a Nitro broadcast in 3 months. With the momentum of its most watched broadcast since September '99 the previous weekend, a massive main event hyped in hopes of topping it tonight, September 4, 2000 saw Nitro win its second straight unopposed week, going all out with the first ever Triple Cage War Games on television, heavily hyping the match during the week, involving every available top star in the company, built as Russo's revenge to target a huge audience boost on the night, seeing the match being hyped throughout the show, first with a Russo and Nash promo exchange inside the massive cage structure, with the broadcast picking up viewers in every quarter over the 2 hours, kicking off the match with the entrances at 9:40 p.m. with a 20-minute commercial-free block set to run to the end of the show. Seeing the big star power match of Goldberg, Booker, Sting and Groenick against Steiner, Nash, Jarrett and Russo in one of the biggest spectacles in show history, setting several year-high rating and viewership milestones for the company, jumping huge with over 1.4 million viewers to a 4.8 rating, with 5.6 million viewers to make it the joint highest-rated quarter on the WCW broadcast since the final stages of its peak period in April 1999. Ending up with Bret Hart returning to cost Goldberg the match, followed by the swerve of Russo and Nash working together to drive Nitro overall to its highest rated and most watched show in a year.